USS strikes on Venezuela kill at least 80 people, including 23 soldiers, after the capture of Nicolas Maduro. No one talks about that, do they?
No.
They all said, no one was harmed, no one was injured. But 80 civilians died, and how many soldiers? 23 soldiers. How's that? No harm.
No one.
Right?
Welcome back, everybody, to Season 2, where we are having a conversation for artists and thinkers, philosophers, and anyone who doesn't feel at home with fast culture.
Yay, throw cultures in. Let's do it.
I'm Geraldine, your host, my co-host, Kelli, our superhost, Gizmo.
Who's hiding? He's so fed up.
Our producer in the background, Stephanie.
Yes, come up here, baby. Come on.
This is finding you in a place that's safe and well and in a space that is beyond survival. So thank you for joining us. It's great. In 2026,
Sorry, Geraldine.
My
He's
new
determined to lie on you
bestie, my
again.
new bestie, Gizmo.
He missed you.
Little introduction. So we've got a lot planned
Yeah.
for season 2. We're pretty excited. We've got some outreach, which we'll announce a bit later. But we've got some people coming in to join us. We've also got
What's the first
alongside from our guests.
Who's the first 2 guests?
So next week we've got Rod Mannequin from Rodman Pictures, and who Steph is doing a film with, actually.
Yes, I'm also part of Rodman Pictures.
Yes.
I'm part of pretty much all of his productions, except for the first couple when we didn't actually know each other.
So that's pretty exciting. I've seen a few of Rodman Pictures, and I know you're working on one, Savage Island it's called.
Yes.
And that's what, in March.
Steph?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a live feed from the set with me and Rod.
So that's in the Midwest of WA. So for our people outside of WA, that's going to be a little bit of an introduction to that. Yeah, regional WA. It's pretty exciting. And then we've got Tineke van der Eken the following week,
Which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, and
'Cause I feel like
I'm really excited about Rod coming in.
But I'm really excited about Rob, but I don't know enough about him yet. I feel like I already have a relationship with Tineke, and I've never met her. Just because I think I wrote an article on it, didn't I?
Yeah, she did.
And also because she was the one who gave us, by reading her poem, when Geraldine read her poem, that was the video, little short that went viral that brought us all these new subscribers. That's where it started. So I feel like I heard a little bit of a debt of some kind.
Look, she's
a
bit of a force of nature.
Yeah.
Tineke, so
she's a very interesting artist. She's a scientist as well as an artist. I'm really looking forward to having her here.
As we always like to share
Do you want
our
sugar?
recipes.
Do you want sugar?
No, because we have donuts on the table.
I know.
Gluten-free donuts, everybody.
Yeah, gluten-free. So yesterday, Maria made these. They're cinnamon donuts. So these are the donuts with the holes, and these are the holes that look more like belly buttons. But they're just plain cinnamon donuts. They're gluten-free. We love them. And these are my mum's kind of little quiches. Every time we had a little party, whatever she wanted finger food, she'd always do these little quiches, and I just adore them. We're having them cold today, but I put in there some of the cranberry chutney that I made for Christmas and a little bit of brie cheese.
Ooh.
And then, what else? A little bit of cheddar cheese on top. And then, of course, egg and half tomato. That's it. Half grape tomato. That's it. Really simple. Salt, pepper. But they're quite delicious.
Well, one of the things that from holidays I did do is I ate very well, so I'm quite happy not to eat too much. I'm heading for a fasting, so that's part of my self-care is to do things like that, basically. Another thing that happens at the beginning of the year, I do a lot of journaling. So that's been, journaling, and I actually map my dreams, and that's been very interesting.
Tell me more.
Oh, well, I find that's just going inside,
which is a good jobby to do at the moment. Everybody should be do the interior stuff more.
Yeah, that's right. I guess I'm saying that out loud, more inviting people to be more reflective and self-reflective.
Your reflection.
And just listening to what is coming forward, basically. I think your neighbourhood and your actual physical, geographical community is becoming more important.
Well, I think all borders are dissolving, aren't they? Whether we like it or not. But I actually think in the end it'll be a good thing, especially in Europe, if they can just forget that.
Down the fences.
Because most of the wars in Europe have been because there's so many countries living in close proximity and sharing borders, and for eons of time, since way back to Egyptian times, sort of thing, 5,000 years ago, they've just always had wars there. There's never a time that they haven't had wars, and I think a lot of that is they're so tightly knit together, like sharing so many borders, and each place seems extreme different cultures, sort of thing. So it must be hard. But I'm hoping, with all the crazy that's going on over there at the moment, the best possible scenario would be for those borders to dissolve or remove all the dictators, remove all the fascist leaders, get them out of there once and for all. Anyway, before I go and read this, would you like a donut?
I thought you'd never ask.
You can have a donut. And do you want a donut hole as well, or belly button?
Sure, I'll have a belly button. Yep.
I'm going to have a hole.
Are we going to introduce your segment as Kelli's Shorts?
Yeah, I am.
Our new segment is Kelli's Shorts.
My shorts are going to be headlines, news headlines on world events. So, I'm going to do Kelly's little shorts. I don't know. Maybe I should put it because they're little rants, really, aren't they? Yeah, I'm doing that now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
from the micro to the macro.
Yeah, from the micro to the macro. So I'm going to do the geopolitics stuff. I'll probably have to scrub that word out if we don't want to get red flag. Anyway, so I did wake up this morning. I always get these. I just always put up, give me the 5 top kind of red alerts. And in perplexity, just so you all know where it's coming from, the source. And this is what I woke up to. So first of all, of course, obviously these things are going back to since January the 1st. Trump threatens very strong action as Iranian protests death tolls past 500. Well, I think we can safely say that they're reporting 5,000 deaths because they're just machine guns mowing them down. But actually, people on the ground level, because they can't get much, obviously the internet's been turned off, but some of them have got Starlink. So only a little limited information can come out. There is a few people on the ground level, obviously, that are connected to Dulcie, Georgia and our story in that way. They are reporting that it's more like 12,000. That's goodness. Yeah, that have been killed by the regime.
Shock to me.
They've assassinated a lot of the regime heads at the moment, but not the main guy. But he's trying to make his escape with his gold to Russia. Mm-hmm. And Putin said, no. Oh. Apparently. Okay. We'll see how that one plays out.
Because I have been on holiday from news.
Yeah, no, good for you. I wish,
not to say I haven't tuned in, but
I wish I'd tuned out. Mm. And then, of course, we all know about the Venezuela one. That was probably the first headline that happened. I was at F47, kept saying that there was nobody harmed or killed or injured in that, what should we call it, invasion, I think is the appropriate word. Mm. No, they're calling it something else. It's a bit like Putin calling, Ukraine special military. What was it? Special operation. So ridiculous. Anyway, so they're calling it something similar to that, really. I think probably they took it right out of Putin's playbook. But actually, the reality on the ground, we're always looking at what's really going on the ground level. We're lucky enough to have enough contacts here, there, and everywhere. As I said, artists are the people who sit back and watch and observe. So they see things other people don't see. They hear things other people don't hear because they're coming in from a different perspective. There was actually 80 people who, including 23 soldiers, that were killed in that event. So it was not no deaths or no injuries.
Or no civilians were.
Or no civilians. Yeah. There were a total, really, if you take the 23 out, that's 57 civilians that were killed, isn't it? So anyway, it's on all the dictators around the world are on steroids. And the other thing that happened is Israel stepped up attacks in Gaza again and the West Bank as UN agencies warned of catastrophic humanitarian conditions and collapsing healthcare. And they're also now going more on the climate change stuff. That's all amped up too. UN weather agencies confirm that the last 11 years have all been the hottest on record, with rapidly warming oceans, pushing climate targets further out of our reach. So if you think that we have improved or that all of what we've been doing has made a difference, apparently not. In Ukraine, even though Ukraine has been hitting Russia hard as well, and there's about 560,000 people without power and therefore without heat, without gas, without electricity in Russia, in some of the main centres like around Moscow and St. Petersburg and other places, because Ukraine only hits the infrastructure, any military bases, any oil refineries, any ships bringing in oil, because of the money that still keeps the war going, right? So it's very strategic, it's very clever, very good. They do it with drone technology, which is amazing. However, as always, Putin goes in hard and fast and triples down or whatever. So they have now officially declared a state of emergency in the energy sector as Russian strikes leave thousands without power, sub-zero winter temperatures. But the good news is that Russia is doing worse with that on the other side. And you know what? The border still hasn't moved. In fact, they've retreated a bit. They're sending Russian soldiers now out on bikes, and still the war is going on. So anyway, so that's just the top 5 kind of crazy stuff that's been happening. Over and above all of that, we know that ICE has been on steroids in the last really 3 weeks post-Christmas. They knew that was coming. It was intentional. They, particularly in Minnesota, of course, they shot Renee Good.
And there's the incredible community of Minnesota has absolutely rallied.
They have.
And in many parts.
They have. They were out in force. But then now there's ICE videos after ICE videos of, they're just going for everybody now. I saw them dragging after bashing a 17-year-old boy who was a citizen and not brown or not black, was a white guy. And obviously they knocked him out, and then they were dragging him like he was a piece of meat by the back out of the view of camera.
Just disturbing.
Horrendous stuff like that. We've seen them throwing down women. But now they're attacking citizens without that, because they didn't put this guy, arrest him straight away. That gave all the rest of the ICE, look at that, we'll get away with it. We can do whatever the hell we want.
This is why we shouldn't let, genocide. We need to call out
what it is,
the horrors on the planet, and what is happening behind the scenes. And obviously,
well, I've been posting
in a very different world, aren't we?
Yeah, and I've been posting deliberately on our story, which I never usually post these videos because I don't know whether that's helpful or not. But on this occasion, I felt, I don't know, I just changed my mind. I thought, okay, I'm posting these now. So I've been posting on the Instagram ad story, not the reels, but the story, not on Facebook, but because that's too much. But for our community, no, just go Cal. We know, don't do that. But anyway,
I've seen the cracks in the
wall.
We
can name it now.
I've seen the cracks in the wall for
once they're killing citizens, once they're killing their own. It used to be more about races, and now it's also about anyone who protests. And we don't care who you are, if you're a citizen, if you're white, if you're black, blue, whatever. It used to be a more Nazi approach, but now I think it's just full-blown.
We are seeing some mobilisation in Australia towards a more extreme right wing.
That's why we had those neo-Nazis out in immigration.
Very concerning to me, and very concerning. I think it should be concerning to everyone, really, that there is a rise in, and I'm going to just say it's one party, which is the One Nation party.
Which is to Malaga lately. A lot.
And you can see this whole alliance with Gina Reinhardt,
Pauline Hanson,
one of the most wealthiest women, or maybe the most wealthiest woman in the world.
Not anymore, but she was. Pretty close.
Aligning with Pauline Hanson, who, for those who don't know, is very divisive in Australia. And it's that whole sort of divide and conquer bullshit that people really should see through. Please see through it. Do not vote for a party that is aligning itself with anything near whatever's going on in the leadership in the US, and the powers behind it, because it's obviously.
And again, it's important to mention, and we have said this before in season 1. Pauline Hanson was our cautionary tale. She's really like a female version of Trump. She's a senator now, but
I can't believe she came
originally
back.
The leader of this One Nation party that got set up, which is very extreme right and very basically MAGA on similar sort of philosophy, isn't it, really? And she's been visiting Malaga in the last 12 months. How many times? They've had their finger in the pie here and threatening it since 2003. They've been trying to get in the door. They couldn't, so Peter Till came through New Zealand. You know that story. I told you that story. We've got the AUKUS deal happening here in Western Australia. That's still going ahead. Nothing's changed there. So if you think that we are free, and we just saw what happened in Bondi, so make no mistake, this hate mentality, which is what it is, which is on steroids around the world, it can happen here. So keep yourself not only awake, informed, but keep yourself safe.
Protected.
Anyway, but it is really important, whatever your version of keeping yourself safe, your family safe, even just, I'm always amazed that there is a lot of It's not wasted. I love that song from Jules, Life Uncommon, which was one of our theme songs in StudioZer0 when we were in South Korea, 2003-4. Because we were listening to it and thought, yeah, and there's a line in there that says, if praying was enough, it would have come to be. But it doesn't mean you don't do the prayers anyway, or you don't do the meditation anyway, or you don't feel grateful for the things you do have in your life anyway. Yeah. Because we are really still here in Australia, even with what happened with Bondi, we still are living in an extraordinarily privileged position and lifestyle compared to what's going on. And you can't help but wake up with gratitude for that. Sadness for the rest of the world, yes, I get that. Horrified, the rest of the world and what's going on, absolutely. Could it happen here? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean you forget that, you know what, at the moment, we're pretty lucky.
Absolutely. I guess some of those rituals are so that I'm not going into any overwhelm. And I think I say the word overwhelm because energetically, for me, life can be overwhelming. That's a reality. Yeah. But I think we're going into more intense times. And I know that is going to test us. Although I think that's undeniable.
Yeah, look,
Even if you tune the internet off, tune out from the news, I think, certainly for me, my antennas are things
refreshed.
What happens is going to happen, and it's good to talk about what we do in our rituals, self-protection and self-care, because that's actually what we do need to, our priority. We do start,
and I don't think whether if it's like spending time with family, do that. If it's going to the beach, do that.
Yeah.
If it's going and playing sport, do that. If it's cleaning the house from head to toe, do that. Yep. Whatever works. Just find what works for you. That's self-care. Right? It doesn't have to be, I'm going off to a spa, although that's nice. Most of us don't do that, really, in reality.
No, and if you don't do that, then it's very easy to be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But it's for me anyway.
Yeah, because what happens with that sort of like style of self-care, you're only going to do it once in a blue moon. What about daily care? That's what matters, is every day when you wake up, what's your ritual? Anybody who's been through war zones, and I've got friends, their first point of stuff that they will say is, make sure you've got your emergency bag ready to go. Mm-hmm. Because if you need to evacuate or need to leave, whether it's a natural disaster, war zone, whatever, this is just what people, friends of mine have been through wars. Because you have to also recognise it might not be forever, but sometimes you just have to leave. You have to have an emergency exit plan in place, I believe. And for you, all our American friends out there, I know this might sound extreme, but please just put an emergency exit plan in place. I'm sure most of you do already. I'm not talking about the prepper stuff. I'm talking about the real deal of like the suitcase with medical supplies and that sort of thing that you can just get in your car and go if you ever need to.
I just saw the statistics, which I find alarming, that 1 in 5 Americans are considering leaving the US.
Yeah, it's on steroids.
I don't know in what time span that is.
We're a very popular, I think, location. I think Canada probably has turned their
wherever they're obviously not wanting to live in the US, and I think what a sad state of affairs that is.
But that's the same story as Venezuela when 27 years ago when they fell as a democracy. Over that 27 years, I think it's up to 8 million people, and they don't have a lot. What is it, 50 million or something? Left. Mm-hmm. They left. And now we're really happy about Trump taking out, but they're not so happy anymore now because the people on the ground level, that's not what they're saying. If you talk to people who know people who live there, that's not what they're saying. At first we thought it was good, but then when the dust settled, we realised we've still got the same regime in power and nothing has changed. He's the fucking idiot.
And now we've got...
excuse the French.
And that's why I mentioned One Nation, because to have one more person voting for One Nation, and also even our powers that be are changing our freedom of speech in a knee-jerk reaction to the Bondi massacre and taking it into an extreme that we don't want.
And I've been posting stuff to our Australian Prime Minister saying that he hasn't done enough, which is inciting violence within the community again, because he wants the Jewish community here to be outraged and up. And it's like, no, guys, we are all responsible for this.
There's a Jewish voice for peace. We all need to be working towards peace. Full stop.
Mm.
And...
Well, that was when someone asked me on TikTok the other day. I posted the thing about Bondi and our solidarity with the Jewish community, Australian Jewish community. and the wider community. And seeing a lot of videos coming out, especially from New York, of sort of TikTok style, I guess, or Instagram style, or on Threads, of rabbis standing up and saying, this is not Israelis, this is not Jewish culture.
It's not at all.
And we are stepping out of our comfort zones and saying, we disagree with what Netanyahu is doing, what's happening in Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
And there needs to be more of that. There needs to be more of the Jewish community and otherwise banding together for peace. And when this guy said, when I posted about, he says, what about what's going on? And I said, if you look back a few videos, you'll see we also posted about that, because StudioZer0 supports peace for every human being.
I wanted to mention
we want to look at it that way. We're centrist.
Carl Gopal Krishnan, who was our guest. He did actually send out a letter that he's written to the Attorney General on, and he's really worded it so well. He's actually so well articulated. That's quite a long submission.
I'll just do a little.
Okay, so the submission: hate laws in a brave new world. Legislation for harm that keeps changing shape.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's
just so people know. Carl used to write policy for our government. And he was bipartisan. He was one of those bipartisan public servants.
Yeah.
He's also nice.
I might just read out the premise of it, and I do encourage anybody to. We should all be interested. I think it's our civic responsibility, but obviously it's not everyone's cup of tea to write to the Attorney General. But you can write, or you can actually ring, or you can make. Or even having conversations with people, just so that we're more aware of what's going on. Because at some point, if we do have a shutdown, we are in New South Wales has just shut down protest on people protesting a genocide, widely acknowledged genocide in Gaza.
People who old ladies and men sitting on the street, and because they're protesting against what's going. They're getting arrested and put in jail. We're like 80 years old, 70 years old.
You know what that's
the
about?
The old hippies that used to protest, they know how to protest.
No, they just put them through the system, so they get them out of the system so that they can. I mean, it's terrifying. That we're just stalling while.
So if you think, to our lovely American friends, if you think this is only happening in your country, it's not. Even if it's not on steroids yet in other places, and it is too, but I'm talking about Western and democratic countries like Australia and New Zealand, make no mistake, they have infiltrated, and they have infiltrated. So the only thing that kept us safe this last election was the Labor government getting in with a landslide. But that's not necessarily healthy as a government kind of thing, because really there's no pushback. I'd rather see a 60-40, if anything. So because you do need the opposition there to give you the pushback as well. We don't have that at the moment. So there's things that lately the Labor government has done here that has surprised me. And I'm like, and this is the Labor government doing this? Well, gosh.
So I'll just read the very beginning of Carl's submission because it's brilliant. Please. Thank you, Carl. Well done.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Carl's episode, go back to episode 14 or 15.
Oh, don't ask me.
Anyway, one of those. And you watch his episode. It's lovely.
The push.
What's his last name again?
Gopal Krishnan. The push to rush new hate speech laws through Parliament is being driven by fear of an escalation of recent violence. The fear is real. For many people, especially those who feel directly targeted, speed looks like protection. Multicultural community advocates who have seen this pattern many times always struggle to communicate why speed also carries risks. Despite a history of multiple failures, I will try again. This is his statement. Laws made quickly do work for a short time. They calm things on the surface while storing up problems underneath. There's a lot of wisdom in this letter. I could go on, and I think that people get the gist of it. Maybe we can put this letter
up. We can post it,
yeah,
absolutely. I'll post a link to this, as I always do, with what we talk about. I usually have links in the description if you want to do a deeper dive on it or connect with one of the articles that we've quoted or read out or whatever. There's always links there in the description.
Very quickly, when law moves faster than we can comprehend a problem, as it is doing now, it reshapes behaviour and trust in ways that appear slowly and are difficult to do. I think it's just the
Well,
words of warning, aren't they?
Yeah,
really?
and you know what, Carl? I know you're watching, so you know what? That speaks in to the article I just wrote last week. Obviously wouldn't have any. Normally, I only write articles for episodes, but I woke up one morning and thought, excuse the French, effort. I didn't say it. Be proud of me, Steph.
Oh, good.
I know you swear off camera all the time, but I don't even normally swear off camera. But when I swear on camera, it's because I'm pretty mad about it. But anyway, and I just woke up just going, oh. Anyway, so that's when I wrote this. We'd done the Horror to Hope piece, and I'd done this piece on Trump. I'm going to read the funny bit from it, and then I'm going to let Geraldine read it because it's a bit weird me reading out my own article. That feels weird. Something's not quite right with that picture. So what I'm going to do is just bring it up. So when I put this piece up, the artist statement that went with it was this, if I can find, where's Substack on here?
I love that Gizmo. He's so relaxed that he's just having a little nap here.
Yeah,
on
he's
the
like,
lounge.
you can't even see him. He's right down here. Okay, so they were a series of 3 sort of film boxes, and we put them in the cinema at the Lunar Cinema on the premiere night when everybody was in the movie seeing The Apprentice. Yeah, which was just a really good. I think it was a good movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Or I don't know whether you can see it still in cinema, but anyway, we went to the premiere night. After they all went in the cinema, we put this artwork up, and we'd already put. I think did we put John Carey's work the next day?
Into our local
which was
MLA,
like, this is a tick of what we should be going for. This is the cross of what we shouldn't be going for. It says F-47's Camp Dictator. Single cat girls go fishing with pearls of wisdom. Let's do lunch, darlings. Off with the heads, said the Red Queen. So who's eating all the cats and dogs? Nobody, dear. Pearls of Wisdom assures us nobody. Nobody is eating the cats and dogs. Got it, replies the Red Queen. Nobody. Now, that was when all that nonsense was going on about eating the cats and dogs.
Eating the cats and dogs.
And then what flowed from that a week ago, I guess it was, or 2 weeks ago it might be now. I'm not very good with keeping track of times, so forgive me if I get that wrong. And I'll let Geraldine read the article because I feel a bit weird.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because artists more right brain thinking, so we're trained to notice things in our environment or to observe things in society that other people see, things that others may not see, so we're more likely to see the cracks before other people, I think. So Pearls of Wisdom from an Artist's Studio by Kelli.
That being one.
Sharp. Rehearsal survival notes, only until Beyond Survival kicks in. Note to self.
That's what it was. Note to self, yeah.
I come to, are we allowed to say it? Geopolitics, the way I come to making artworks. Through space, duration, repetition, and what refuses to resolve. Which is a great description of actually the art making process. As an installation artist working across performance, new media, and electronic systems, I'm trained to notice environments before events, to read the conditions being built around the body, to stay long enough for the hum to stop pretending it isn't there, to sit long enough for patterns to reveal themselves, not through shock, but through persistence. In the studio, nothing is neutral. Scale instructs behaviour. Repetition dulls resistance. Duration trains endurance. This literacy doesn't switch off when the work leaves the gallery. It follows me into how I read power, which, if we're honest, now arrives mostly as atmosphere. It follows me into how I read power. Mainstream political commentary prefers clean lines. Statements, policies, personalities arranged like chess pieces. Artists are more likely to ask something less tidy and more uncomfortable. What kind of world is being quietly assembled around us? And who puts the exit sign behind the curtain?
That's what started it all, that statement. I woke up from a dream, and in my head all I could hear was, who hid the exit sign behind the curtain? What happened?
I love it, I really do.
That started the whole article.
Yeah, that's right. So relevant, Kelli.
Yeah.
From this vantage point, much of contemporary geopolitics reads less like strategy and more like staging. Not incompetence, not chaos, but a carefully sustained atmosphere. A scene that never quite ends. The long arc of US policy toward Venezuela, particularly as amplified during the Trump years, is a case in point. Read narrowly, it appears incoherent. Oh, there's my coherence.
Because he was talking about Venezuela in his first term as well. Goes back all the way back then. Yeah.
Sanctions that entrench suffering without producing resolution. Declarations of moral clarity unaccompanied by consequence. A crisis that remains permanently unresolved. The lights stay on, the soundtrack loops. The exit remains theoretical. But read as a durational work, as an installation maintained over time, it becomes legible. The crisis is not meant to conclude. This is not policy failure. It is meant to persist. It is narrative maintenance with excellent funding. Artists understand this instinctively and perhaps more importantly, intuitively. We know how repetition works on the nervous system. We've all watched a piece go dead from repetition, then continue anyway because it still fills the room. We know that endurance is easier to extract than consent. We know that when people are kept in a low-grade state of crisis, attention fragments, memory shortens, and casualty blurs. Very well written, Cal. It's just so descriptive of what's happening for too many people and why we do need to be more
vigilant,
aware and vigilant. Yeah. Venezuela, seen through this lens, is not an aberration. It's an archive, a long study in what happens when survival becomes the organising logic of everyday life. Not through constant terror, but through fatigue. I'm thinking of the people in Gaza.
Yeah, that's
solidarity.
Fatigue.
Yeah, solidarity with. It's just unfathomable, really. Through the slow normalisation of instability, survival becomes aesthetic. Crisis becomes ambient. This is why the tonal shift during the Trump era felt immediately familiar to anyone attuned to these patterns, not because history repeats neatly, but because the grammar was recognisable. Strongman rhetoric, personalised authority, institutions framed as obstacles, threat invoked endlessly without specificity. That's very hard to say sometimes. Specificity. To be specific.
Specificity. Now you're making me go.
Or end. I'll say it again. Threat invoked endlessly without specificity. or end. I'll just skip over that bit.
Yeah, for it.
From a fine art perspective, this was never about whether Trump would become something. That question belongs to spectacle. What mattered was rehearsal. Rehearsal is where boundaries are tested, where excess is tolerated, where mistakes are waved away as provisional. It is where muscle memory forms in bodies, in language, in attention. Be vigilant, everyone. My words, not Kelly's. Yeah. Trump did not need to complete the performance. He only needed to introduce the rhythm, and rhythms linger long after the performer exits. This is where survival becomes dangerous. When populations are going to get through a period, to endure it, manage it, survive it, their field of vision narrows. Focus shifts from structure to symptoms, from causality to coping. In the studio, this is the moment when an installation stops being questioned and starts being navigated automatically, normalised. What remains is an environment people learn to live inside without asking who designed it or why it refuses to end. The work embedded in this essay emerges from that recognition. Faces are removed, not to anonymise. There's another word that you had to just put in there just to trip me up.
Oh, sorry.
Anonymise, but to deny the comfort of character-driven reading. Without personalities to anchor blame or fascination, power becomes visible as pattern. Repeated gestures, repeated symbols, authority rehearsing itself through form. Above this loop, small figures wait. They fish. They're eating the cats and dogs.
That's it. They fish for a different reason, though.
Yes. They do nothing efficient. They refuse urgency. They operate on a different timescale. This is not whimsy, it is a counter rhythm. In a culture addicted to acceleration, patience is destabilizing. In a political climate saturated with reaction, waiting long enough to see the structure is a form of resistance. Beyond Survival lives here in this slower literacy. Well, Beyond Survival lives here. This is almost finished, but it's so relevant. It is not disengagement from geopolitics, but a refusal to read it only at speed. I better finish because Steph's sighing now.
I'm waiting for my download.
Oh, we're all waiting for our download.
We are all waiting.
I don't think we're waiting. I think it's happening. But anyway, it's here.
That's right. It is not disengagement from geopolitics, but a refusal to read it only at speed. It insists on seeing power not just as event, but as environment, not just as decision, but as duration. It asks the questions mainstream discourse rarely has time for. What is being rehearsed while we are busy enduring? Who benefits from crisis that never resolves? What disappears when survival becomes the highest aspiration? Artists are trained to notice when a work refuses to conclude. Right now, that refusal is the signal. Brilliant, Kelli. And you know what? The first time I read that, I just went, I think I'm going to have to read that again just to really process and get what you were saying.
Well, I am a bit late, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, but it's like any sort of, it's like meeting someone. It takes time to see the rhythm and what the meaning and the what's behind and the.
If someone is sitting in front of you or next to you and they're doing the bang, 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 the easiest way just to calm it down and bring it down to this readable level, consumable level, is counter rhythm. I'm listening and I'm hearing everything they're saying, but I'm also not allowing it to be absorbed. I'm doing that, sitting there doing that, or even doing the rocking stuff you do, is counter rhythm. It helps, and sooner or later you start see. All of a sudden, sometimes they can just stop and go, "What was I saying?" Yeah, you did tell me.
Yes, where I wasn't the Sharpie.
But you can tell them.
I wasn't like the Sharpie on the back of the toilet door, or the I wasn't vandalising things. I was the pastels or chalk, the chalk artist.
I was going to say, you've got to introduce yourself as the chalk artist.
I'm the chalk artist.
You are the chalk artist.
Because I think that it's a gentle way of saying and putting things in the public domain, and it's not vandalising, and I'm not like a.
They can't at least
I'm
charge you for that one if you do get arrested, like Suzanne and Danielle did.
That was beautiful.
In Sweden. Part of the one of the pieces of the Horror to Hope campaign was some colleagues of ours in Sweden, and they were in front of the Parliament House there. Do this peace symbol all the time in nature, in wherever they go, you see it, and then they post it. And so they did a peace symbol in front of the Parliament House on the floor, and then you hear the sirens coming, so the police coming up. Anyway, again, it's on YouTube there, it's on video if you want to have a look. And they got arrested, and their only punishment was, now you have to go and clean that back up. You have to clean all that paint off.
Well, I haven't
guess what?
been caught, so.
Guess what?
Did they
no fine? Oh, no, they did get a fine. They did get a fine, that's right. So I think quietly, secretly, that maybe the police liked what they did. Well, but they had no idea they wouldn't be spending hours there washing it off because it was chalk paint.
Yeah, that's how I thought. Paint. Yeah. I mean, I remember I did it in the 80s. I was there in the 80s. I started to, I think it was actually me practicing in all sorts of like places that were about to be demolished. So I was a teenager. I did scale some fences that I'm going to places I probably shouldn't have been. So what?
Yeah.
But there I was practicing my craft with pastels.
No, I love it.
But I really love to put words with things, and so developed.
I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense knowing you now a little bit more. That makes perfect sense. That was your teenage years, that your form of activism was using pastel chalk. That just makes perfect sense to me.
I was surrounded by...
Me, on the other hand, I probably would have got a bucket of red paint. That's just me. But anyway, it was a good exercise to do, wasn't it? And maybe we'll do a few more this year. Of course, we'll sneak out and do a few.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to have a voice, however they can have a voice.
And to all you artists, philosophers, activists out there, the Horror to Hope campaign, as far as we're concerned, is ongoing. We haven't posted everybody's works, only because I got lost with it a bit, really. We were so busy with doing everything else. But if you post your own work, send it to me, and I will put it up on the Instagram board, and I'll make, at the end of it all, when there's no more wars left, we'll put together a reel of some kind. And also now, just closing off here with that, thank you for reading that.
Thank you for writing it.
Well, no, but it was interesting hearing someone read it out loud. Like I was just following along. I was separated from the article sort of thing. And it was interesting to just hear someone else reading it and watching your emotional response to it. But getting ready to close off, yes. We've nearly. If you want to, is there something else you want to talk about? Oh, sorry, you had it in your notes.
No, I don't actually. I don't. I'm just, oh my God, I'm just trying to think of the Greens representative, and I have a bit of a problem saying his name, so it's caught on camera now. Brad Pettit. He
sounds good to me.
Yeah, so he was commenting on an article, but I just loved the preface for that is, as a Greens, he's a minister in the state parliament, as he says, and coming back to Labor having absolute control really of the whole of Australia.
Yes.
It says basically he had expressed his disappointment in Labor having so much control and not actually fixing every fucking problem that we have. Sorry, Gizmo. I'll say that a bit nicer, shall I? I'll say it without swearing. But so basically, it's such a great comment. When you're in power, why don't you just fix the things that need to be fixed?
We do have one local politician who's very good at that, and that's John Kerry.
John Kerry.
And we talk about him all the time. Why do we talk about him all the time? Because he's the real deal.
He's your local.
He is my local. He's my local representative, but he's also the state MLA for homelessness and aged care. I think it is. I think that's his platform at the moment. And in 8 years that he's been in office for that job, every year what he promises he's going to deliver on, he actually delivers on it. I think there's maybe 5% or something that doesn't get done for various reasons, but every single project gets started, and most of them are finished. That's phenomenal. He's done all the buildings now that he was talking about. The flats are ready to go and ready for those who are low-income earners. He's got the tiny house thing happening now. There's actual reality of it, not just talk of it.
We need progressive.
And he is that. He is that. Again, his perspectives is different because he comes from a different sort of. I think he thinks and looks. Don't know whether he'll agree with this or not. Probably not. But I think why I connected with him or why I like him is because I can see the artist in him. There's something about his approach that is the same way he sees things in the same way you do. But he has that other edge. He has that political, he's a very good politician as well. But the most important thing, and he works with one of my friends, and I don't know, I think they mirror each other a bit. It's quite funny, really. But they're both not yes people. And that's the point.
Yeah, it's more about getting the job done.
Exactly. They don't care what other people tell them to do. If they know intuitively that this is the right thing to do, they're not yes people. They don't capitulate. That's the bottom line. We need more progressive politicians in power or a different style of governing. Because even if we're not aware, obviously we're aware of it with what's going on with America because it's on steroids and it's loud all over the world. But make no mistake, that stuff's been going on very quietly, simmering in the background for a very long time in all democratic countries, because those who were, even your democratic style parties or your left kind of parties, no matter what you call them in each country, I'm sorry, but they're not much better. They still talk a lot of rhetoric and don't get anything done, or very few. So whenever I find a poly that is actually doing what they said they're doing, that's why I'm so interested in seeing the new mayor of New York. He's on the ground running. He's getting shit done.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
I watched him do another press conference the other day. Well, what do they call it? A presser over there. And I thought, you're on fire and you are going, you are doing, you are. And it did remind me a little bit. I thought, here's the Johnny Kerry ilk. He's got a little bit of that in there.
Yeah.
He's not that polished politician yet, but he is that progressive possibility.
Mm. Well, we have,
please, can we see more of that around the world?
Our local MLA is Dan Bull, and what I love about Dan Bull is that he is with community, and he's 100%, 110% behind his community, and he could just about name everyone in his community, and certainly all the community groups.
Well, yeah, John's a bit like that.
And beautifully, because he's a musician, shout out to Dan, is that he's behind artists basically, and he'll back artists all the way, and he's talking about community groups and artists local in his jurisdiction, people that he's serving. He's saying their names out loud and proud in Parliament. I'm thinking, we don't have MLAs mentioning the amazing arts community that we have. So
I know, and that, you know, that I sent that article to John. I said, John, please read. Now, here's the sort of fellow that he is, okay? That would be crickets, right? Normally it wouldn't even get past the email box. But it got to him within days. He responded within days. And whilst he sort of told us what we already knew, and we still think that the arts here at the grassroots level and the grit level is not being supported in any way, shape or form, and it doesn't look like that's going to change. In fact, it's probably got worse.
And that's a bad sign.
It is a very bad sign. Yeah. The state of arts in Perth, Western Australia, that was the one I sent to him, because it was talking about, why does this matter? Because it's a cultural crisis. If artists stop being given a space to do what they need. Look, artists are never going to stop working, but whether they get heard or seen, that's the other side of the coin, right? That you expect institutions, whether it be universities or galleries or the arts industry, we don't have that anymore. We are now the Department of Leisure, Sports, Leisure, and cultural, tourism, and culture,
cultural industries,
and no word art.
No, it's just
so we don't actually have a home anymore here.
We're cultural industries.
We literally don't have a home anymore here in Western Australia. Do you remember the days? It was WA Arts and Culture. That was when it was at its best, really. Because it was finally recognising. That's when we got the 1% for art in. Yeah. Anyway, it's changed again, and it's been reduced, not just the federal level, but a state level now too. But he did, even though he had to do the politician side, he did actually say in his email, but I do take your point. I do understand what you're saying. And it is that stuff of the things that, it's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, keep the baby. Okay, I get you got to get rid of stuff that happened in the past, whether it was a little bit incestuous or corruption or whatever. That lives in every department, but don't throw the baby out completely, which I feel is the case here. But I understand it's necessary for the corruption, but it's like the pendulum swings too far the other way before it comes back to the middle ground. And in that time that you're waiting for it to come back to the middle ground, a lot of damage is done and a lot of stuff is lost. So anyway, that's what I wanted to end on.
Well, I was just going to mention that we did discuss that we were going to mention the Adelaide Writers Week, and that the Adelaide Festival uninvited or de-invited an artist.
It's just getting insane. It's a bit like the Venice Biennale, the last Venice Biennale, when they de-invited the person that the whole committee had agreed to put forward.
Yeah, so really I think that was, and why I'm mentioning that is because that has backfired on them, that the process was pretty terrible. And I'm glad that there's solidarity from other writers and other artists, and that people actually understood that by silencing a voice, just because it's uncomfortable to hear, I understood that the premise was, I know some people may not be. There's probably quite a lot of people who are not aware of what's happened in the Australian political and arts landscape on that. But they
most of our followers on Substack are from Australia, by the way.
Oh, okay.
72%.
Okay. Yeah, so probably a lot of people know that they de-invited Dr. Randa Abdul Fattah, a Palestinian Australian writer, and who really is, she's basically, it's very simply, she's countering that what's happening over in Gaza is not acceptable and shouldn't be. So it's very strange to try to take her out of the platform of a writers' festival, which is about sharing ideas, the big ideas, and having these discussions. Because what is writing about if you can't be actually talking about things and that discourse? And I can tell you that
I just want people to tell the truth. I'm so tired of people walking, even though they know, and walking around the truth. Aren't we all tired of that? Aren't we all? Isn't that what we're all feeling at the moment? Is like the counter rhythm has to be, just tell it as it is. Why do we have to keep? Okay, I'm not talking about hate speech. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people dance around. Nobody commits to a conversation or a statement. It's like the fear of saying the truth is just horrendous.
So what's happened and the fallout of that is that they've cancelled the Writers' Week.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
An institution in Australia. So it's interesting on some level that, and it was a Israel lobby group. Actually, I probably shouldn't go out on a limb saying that, but it was Israel lobby groups which have set up camp in every city, in every state in Australia, and I don't understand why
I don't think it's
a lobby group from another country has had so much say.
I don't think it's coming from the Israeli people themselves. I think it's all
that seems to be coming through now that there's a lot of, I said a bit earlier, Jewish voices for peace, but I do wonder whether that was the aim, to shut something down. But it's interesting that an institution in Australia has been just collapsed, and the fallout will probably take years.
And that's the beginning. That's the quiet beginning that no one notices. That stuff, make no mistake, was going on quietly. It's long before that.
The festival director, Louise Adler, I believe she is Jewish, and in her statement she's called out Zionism and the Zionist extremist specifically, which is very interesting because I think there's an increasing number of Jewish people who are seeing that Israel has gone way too far with this project of taking land, basically, and they're calling it out, and they've been calling it out for a long time, but it's growing. There's a growing awareness. Yeah. But make no mistake that there'll be a lot of disruption, and it will be about breaking down freedom of speech for the wrong reasons, and we don't want that.
The reason that they immediately go for the university, so education, and then with that they go for the artist of any kind. One of the things I love about being an artist was I was finally free to say it as it was. I didn't have to guardrail myself. If a gallery didn't want to display it, okay, I'll put it in the street. That's the beauty about being an artist, is you don't need someone's permission.
You came from, or you have had some experience of the corporate world as well, and then to come into another field, basically, it must have been quite refreshing to go from corporate, where there's a lot more awareness about what you say and how you say and how you dress. And
I worked in advertising product management, which is basically that very commercial capitalist kind of format, especially in the 80s. So what that was the beginning of fast culture being on steroids before it became what it is today, which is like another whole $1 trillion level. But then when I went to art school, that's when I talk about the opposite rhythm of that is art gives you the opportunity to do that, to do the counter rhythm. That's how you bring it down and begin to see. So on that note, do all of you who may not even think about counter rhythm and don't take moments just to breathe, and I really mean that. I know we say it a lot, but it's not just words. It's like several times through the day, just take a moment to do some deep breathing.
Fly, isn't it, Gizmo?
It is. That's people walking down the laneway. Because that's where you begin to see what's real. I think it's very hard for people to, when they've invested in one truth that is no longer, or maybe it never was the truth, which is a lot of the Magda story, right? And now some of them are waking up. They're only waking up not just because of the horror that they're witnessing, because some part of them, empathy got back in, and empathy alone creates that counter rhythm. And the counter rhythm gives you the space to see the truth, because you're standing back, you're not attached, you're in a place of observation, which is the absolute key, I think, and where most creatives and artists go to create. You can be in it for a while, but then you've got to pull yourself out of it and do the counter rhythm stuff and say, what am I seeing here for realsies? What's really going on? And everybody can do that. You don't have to be an artist to do that. It's just a matter of taking 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night, even if it's just sitting in silence.
I did see quite recently that might have been even something you posted, Cal. I don't know. Information comes to you for a reason, but it was that evil is the inability to reflect, to not have reflection.
True evil, I think, is you might be right. I should write something like that. Something like true evil comes from an inability to reflect.
Evil, it was just yeah.
Well, darkness,
but it's an age old, and I think it's actually true.
It is an age old.
It's true.
Yeah, I probably use the word darkness more than evil.
Yeah, I've always had a little bit of a problem with the word evil, but we all know what we're talking about.
Too much baggage, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially in the churches where they used it to suppress people.
To suppress and
we don't
fear
want that.
rather than...
We want to do the opposite.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, now listen, just one of the other things, we always have artist watch, and even on videos we haven't actually showcased an artist or talked about an artist. I do want to say that this week we've got a local singer-songwriter. When we were doing our stuff for the Venice Biennale, she allowed us... No, he just go behind you. He just loves sitting behind you. I don't know why. You go, Giz.
Because we're matchy-matchy.
Yeah, matchy-matchy. And anyway, so her real name is Tanil Elkins, but her stage name is Elk Bell. She's got 4 albums out. She's a local singer-songwriter. She also works in the copyright office. And we met through doing festivals and stuff. She's just brilliant. So I'm going to showcase her this week. I haven't told her yet, but I will. But we have used many of her songs in some of the works that we've done. So I'm going to showcase her this week, even though we haven't really talked about her, but except what I'm just telling you now. So always watch the beginning of the episodes. We do what we call artist watch. We do straight after the highlight is usually an artist watch, or sometimes I'll put it before. If there's a trailer of a film that we know of someone that we know, we'll always put their trailer at the front, and then at the end of the episode, we do a little write-up and gallery sort of thing, or video on the artist, or sometimes the artist talking or being interviewed or whatever. So don't miss those. Even if you don't want to see all the stuff in between, just go to the front and the back. Just get that bit at least. Just support our artists.
It's very enjoyable as well. So I guess that's us.
And every time you like and subscribe, it helps us move more towards, even with the red flags from YouTube, the more you like and subscribe and tell others and share and stuff, the more quickly we know we're doing very well in the environment that we're in. That people can tell me that, but I want more to.
We want to hear from you as well.
We want to hear from you. We want comments other than just on Gizzy. It would be nice. I get it, but it would be good if we can. I love conversations. So let's have a few.
Joining the conversation.
Season 2. Come on, you guys. That are just sitting there and don't bother to like, or maybe you're watching not subscribing. I don't know, but it is really all about helping artists in Western Australia and Australian artists that we know in the other states, but particularly, obviously, for us, we're focused here. We're going to be showcasing a lot of our creators from here that have worked internationally, nationally, and our scientists and our academics,
thinkers and our inventors
and filmmakers. Anyone who is on the ground level here in Western Australia, that's who you're going to meet over the season. That's who we're interviewing. That's who we want to elevate into. They've already elevated themselves, most of them, in the international and interstate community. Attention. But what we want to do is for those artists here in Western Australia who are emerging, and we are in the most isolated country in the world, is by showcasing them, artists and creators who have managed, even in the most toughest landscape and isolated, even we're isolated from our own country really here in Western Australia, they've still gone out there and done their art. They've still managed to get traction, if not here, then in the Eastern States, and obviously that was us. But let's give them a platform here, right here, so that they can leave and come back. And that's what that article was about. I'm sick and tired of people being pushed out of the community here because they have no choice but to go somewhere else to do their work. And then we lose them. They never come back. And we've got so many talented people here. I don't know what the numbers on it is, but I bet it's a lot higher than other states.
Well, there you go.
That's just my opinion.
We
It's
got
not validated, but
Any statisticians out
it's
there?
not verified.
Okay, these flies are driving me a little bit
I know.
nuts and to distraction.
All right.
So I say stay fluid, stay focused, stay free. It's wonderful for you to join us, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Over and out.
So don't forget, next week we are
us,
interviewing
Rod Mannequin.
There
from-
you come.
That's what I said.
actually one of Steph's great friends. So it might be the week that you join us on the table, I think.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll see. All right, it's up to you, boss.
I can talk
Over
from
and
here
out.
anyway, so
See you one and all.
from there. Apparently we can actually make that
I can
happen.
still talk from here.
I like this new
Yeah,
idea.
I think this is great. But
Me
we're going
too.
to have to angle the chair a bit so I can get Geraldine in a bit.
This is real grassroots when we don't
Yeah.
even put it in a little box on
Well,
the
you
screen.
wait till you see what I've sent you anyway.
All right,
From all of
everyone,
us.
we're going to be over and out. Don't forget, laugh, love, and
and-
just friggin' breathe.
Keep breathing, everyone. Love, laugh, breathe. Thank you.
Out.
Take what you want, just a little more. I am not like you. Leave me alone if it's possible for you. Not even thieves could they take what you did from me. Stripped back to the bone, my core is getting much smaller each day. With you. And so I say, what did you want? A holiday island? And why did you need to take a piece of me? And I never knew that the stakes were so high. And what did you want me to do? Oh, the sun's coming up, then it goes back down.